I designed the perfect kitchen where nothing can break. Every broken kitchen comes down to one bad decision. Today, we're making sure you never make it. We've talked a lot on this channel about the kitchen decisions that come back to haunt us. The marble that etches from lemon juice, the glossy cabinets that show every fingerprint, the open shelving that becomes a grease collector. Every one of these videos generates comments from people saying the same thing. I wish someone would have told me this before I spent the money. This is the video I wish I could have sent to every one of these people before they went into that showroom. Today, we're building the perfect bulletproof kitchen from the ground up. Materials that hold up to kids, pets, and the general chaos of real life. And a layout that actually makes sense for cooking. Because remember, kitchen that still works great in 20 years is a lot more impressive than one that looked incredible for 3. We're going through 7 things, materials, layout, principles, and a couple of decisions most people never really think about until it's too late. By the end, you'll know exactly what a bulletproof kitchen looks like, piece by piece. Quick one before we start. We got a website, builtbybeckermedia.com, where if you want professional level guidance throughout a renovation, this is the one-stop shop. Check out the link in my description. Number 1, Quartz Countertops. The countertop is where kitchens live or die. You're using it every single day, setting hot things on it, spilling on it, dragging pots across it. Whatever you choose needs to handle all of that without becoming a maintenance project. Quartz, it's the answer. Not marble, which etches from anything acidic. So basically everything that happens in a kitchen. Not granite, which can need regular sealing. Not butcher block, which requires monthly oiling. Doesn't like water, and it doesn't work well near a sink. And it scars if you actually use it as a cutting surface. Quartz is engineered stone. Real quartz crystals bound with resin, and the manufacturing process that it's completed in makes it non-porous, never needs sealing, resists staining and scratching, handles everyday heat without complaint. And because it's engineered, what you see in the showroom is what lands on your counter every time. For a kitchen that actually gets use, quartz is the no drama choice. It just works. Number 2, all plywood cabinet boxes. This is the one that separates kitchens that last 25 years from the kitchens that start falling apart at year 3, and maybe even less. And most homeowners never ask about it. Cabinet boxes are made from particle board, MDF, or plywood. MDF is better, but still doesn't love moisture, and its shelves bow under weight. Plywood is the best. Multiple layers with alternating grain, far stronger, and holds screws the way a cabinet needs to. Hinges that stay tight, drawer slides that stay aligned, shelves that don't droop. You can see the difference from outside. So ask directly when you're shopping, are the boxes all plywood? Also, soft close hinges on every single cabinet. Not because they're fancy, because they prevent slamming. Every kid in the history of kitchens slams cabinet doors about 10,000 times before the age of 12. Soft close catches that energy every time, and it saves you years of hinge repairs. And honestly, I don't know anybody that doesn't do soft close anymore. Porcelain tile or thick wear layer LVP. Kitchen floors take drop pots, dog claws, muddy kids, and a dishwasher leak that goes unnoticed for 3 days. Whatever goes down needs to handle all of that. Porcelain tile is a tougher choice. Essentially, it's impervious to moisture, it's scratch resistant, and it'll outlast the house with the grout properly sealed. The trade-off is that it's hard on your feet after an hour of cooking. Drop dishes could shatter on it, and if a tile cracks years later, you'd need to match it from a discontinued line. Good luck with that. Luxury vinyl plank, done right, the family-friendlier option. The key word is done right. Look for a wear layer of at least 12 mils to ideally 20 mils. If you have pets or heavy traffic, that wear layer is everything. Thin wear layers scratch and dent under real use. A thick wear layer LVP is fully waterproof, softer underfoot, warmer in feel, and forgiving to drop dishes. Modern printing technology means nobody's going to look at the quality of LVP. And just know, it isn't tile. Either one works. Just stay away from light-colored grout in a high-traffic kitchen. Grout holds dirt, and the more grout lines mean the more maintenance. Number 4, Undermount stainless or fire clay sink. The sink is the most used fixture in your kitchen. Not the stove, not the dishwasher. You're at it multiple times a day, every day. It needs to take a beating and still look respectable. For stainless, you want 16 to 18 gauge, not the thinner 20 gauge in the budget sinks. At the right gauge, it handles hard daily use without denting, it resists bacteria naturally, and it cleans up fast. It shows water spots and fine scratches over time, but the quality sink with sound dampening underneath is solid and honestly lasts decades. Fire clay is the other call. Clay and glazed, fired at extreme temperature until they fuse together. The result resists staining and scratching in a way ordinary porcelain never approaches. It comes in white and off-white only, costs more and is heavier to install. But it's the sink you put in when you genuinely want to never think about your sink again. Either way, go Undermount. With Undermount sink, the counter sits over the rim, no lip, no gap, no place for your crumbs to collect at the seam. You wipe your counter straight into the sink. Drop-in sinks have a rim sitting on the counter that becomes a permanent collection point for everything. Undermount wins every time. Number 5, solid brass faucet with ceramic disc valve. Nobody at the showroom tells you this. It matters more than the finish you agonize over for an hour. Faucets fail two ways. The body corrodes or the valve wears out. Most people buy entirely on looks and never ask about either. 2 years later, the faucet drips and they're back at square one. For a bulletproof kitchen, you want solid brass body. Not zinc alloy, not plastic hiding behind a nice finish. Ask specifically. Then you want a ceramic disc valve instead of a rubber washer that wear from friction. Ceramic disc valves are two ceramic discs that slide against each other. They're essentially wear-proof, and they carry sometimes a lifetime guarantee. A faucet with those two things is something you install and don't think about ever again. One more thing, skip the polished chrome in the kitchen unless you enjoy wiping water spots every day. A brushed or matte finish in nickel, black, brass hides spots that happen every single time someone uses the sink. Small detail, a massive quality of life difference. Drawers on the base cabinets. Lower cabinet doors require you to open them. Get on your hands and knees, reach to the back, past everything stored in front, pull it all forward, and then reverse the whole process to put things away. In a busy kitchen, a very frustrating routine that happens every single day. Drawers eliminate that. Pull a drawer, see everything at once, grab what you need. Nothing buried, nothing crouching. A single deep, wide drawer can hold your pots, lids, pans in a way cabinet door can't touch. And you can see and access everything in 2 seconds. The hardware costs a little more, but every designer and contractor that I know agrees, people who cook in kitchens with base cabinet drawers don't go back. If I'm designing a bulletproof kitchen from scratch, drawers go on every base cabinet where it makes sense, which is most of them. The main exceptions are below a sink, which needs to accommodate plumbing and maybe a cabinet or two for oversized appliances. Most everything else, drawers. Drawers and all drawers. Number 7, this one's important. Get the work triangle right and leave enough aisle space. Perfect materials and a bad layout still make for a frustrating kitchen. So the last 2 principles are about the floor plan itself. The work triangle, your sink, stove, and refrigerator should form a triangle with each leg between 4 and 9 feet. These are the 3 things you move between the most when you cook. And if you're too far apart and the paths between them get blocked, every meal involves more steps than it should. Keep those legs between 4 and 9 feet and don't let the island cut across those paths more than a foot. Aisle width. Now, the space between your counter and whatever it is across from it should be at least 42 inches for one cook and 48 inches if there's 2 people who share the kitchen regularly. Less than 42 inches and you can't open a lower cabinet and bend down behind without blocking the whole aisle. Less than 48 inches and 2 people passing each other requires a sideways shuffle that is technically exercise, but not the kind that anyone planned for. Both of these feel abstract on a floor plan and completely obvious the moment you start cooking in the space. Nail them before the cabinet goes in, because fixing them after either is impossible or very expensive. Look, none of these are trendy. None of them will look dated in 5 years. None of them require you to be careful about how you use them. Every single one is a decision you make once and live well for the next 20 or 30 years. Guys, drop a comment with the kitchen decision you wish you could take back. Subscribe for a lot more. And of course, I'm Blake, and this is Built by Becker. We'll see you on the next one.